Hello, Leadership Coachella Valley. This is Sean Webb here, coming to you on Facebook and YouTube, the board president for now the longest year in Leadership Coachella Valley. We're taking the class of 2020, and they're going to extend the class of 2021. But we have our lunch conversations, and we have another board member with us today. Kelly, how you doing?
I'm really great. Thanks, Sean. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being with us. I greatly appreciate it. And, as we've been doing with different times throughout the month, we're highlighting different people with Leadership Coachella Valley. This week, we're actually highlighting one of our alumni, and I'll let Connie go ahead and introduce yourself to our community that's watching. Do know we do have 4 live viewers right now.
Well, that's exciting. So Connie Golds, founder director of Desert Best Friends Closet. We're a nonprofit here local in the Coachella Valley in the Palm Desert. Our mission is to educate and empower our clients for success in employment and life. And we are really all about employment. Our main program is our interview attire program, where we help people who are have clothing insecurity, which is a real thing. Look professional for that job interview. And Sean, are you aware that we do have a youth attire program that,
I am aware of that program. Yes, I am aware. And I know that I've sent students there.
Any high school age youth who needs attire for whether it's a school activity like mock trial, debate team, Junior Statesman of America, or for an internship or for a job interview, or even maybe sometimes coaches want the kids to wear like shirt and tie on game days to kind of stand out. You can't assume that the families have the funding for that. Or, even the situation where a family may have the money, but again, if they're choosing to spend the money on that, then they're choosing not to spend it on something else.
Right.
And so that's what we really come in there for that. And we also have our workshops. We coach our bridge to employment, helping people cross that bridge into employment. We work with a lot of formerly incarcerated individuals, teaching them. We have a workshop this afternoon and graduation, helping them to position their resumes better, improve their interview skills, all those different things. And so we have a lot going on. And of course, the big pivot now during the pandemic, and I never want to hear that word pivot again when this is over. So that is what we do. Okay.
Okay, that's fantastic. I know that people are home, working from home right now and doing different things. And I see on social media all over the place, people are doing little things throughout the house. Like I've been saying, I want to clean my baseboards. And another thing I want to do is clean out my closet and go through that. So I want to encourage people, as you're doing those types of things, cleaning out your closet and looking through your clothing, that maybe a couple seasons ago, it'd be great for your organization. I know that. So
we would be very grateful. We have donation Fridays. We request that people go to our website, which is bfcloset.org, like bestfriendcloset.org, and schedule a donation appointment because we kind of have contactless donations and things like that. So thank you for putting it up there. I see that now. That's pretty cool.
No, definitely. Any information you give me, we could help you out. That'd be fantastic.
I appreciate that.
And just real quick, if you can remind everybody, what year did you go through Leadership Coachella Valley?
I'm pretty sure I was class of 2009. I'm pretty sure it was 2009. And so it was a while ago. It was when I was just first starting Desert Best Friends Closet. We had just, started that the year previous. I was still teaching part-time at College of the Desert and then doing this. And it wasn't until 2010 that we actually got our first commercial site.
Okay. And I believe Kelly has the next question for you.
Sure. So thinking back to 2009, what was your favorite thing about Leadership Coachella Valley? Maybe a session or a specific topic, something that you took away from it?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I liked best was the access that we got. When we did healthcare, I believe we were meeting at the Betty Ford Clinic, which no one ever gets to go into there. It's the access that you get, and access to spaces and to place and to people. They bring in experts from all over the community, and you get to meet them. And if you have a question that you want to follow up with, or 6 months later, you can say, hey, I got connected through Leadership Coachella Valley. And I was serving on a nonprofit board that we had a little issue with zoning in the city of Rancho Mirage. And one of my Leadership Coachella Valley classmates was Scott Hines. So I went to him, and he was on the board of the Rancho Mirage City Council. And he kind of said, this is what you're not doing. This is what you need to be doing, and kind of gave me step by step. And so it was those type of doors that just open for you. And we try to I've already have 2 of my employees have gone through Leadership Coachella Valley. That's why I was asking. I have a 3rd employee, but we'll wait till next year. So I thought, okay, so there won't be any applications because it's invaluable to my staff. It's very, very helpful. So there.
I think you sent the link to maybe one of your staff members who's watching. Is it a Sabrina?
No.
Oh,
I have all men working for me.
Okay. I'm not sure who Sabrina is backstage then. So okay, we'll just I'm not sure about that. So, but that's fine. I guess one question I want to ask is how is your organization working differently since March 13th? You know, my boss calls it, you know, the infamous Friday the 13th. How are you guys acting differently from when school's canceled out here?
So we've done a lot of different things. So during the first couple of months of the pandemic, during the stay-at-home orders, we shut down. And so we operate a thrift boutique, the 3rd best in the Coachella Valley, just so you guys know that, where everything is $5 and buy 4 items, get your 5th item free. So, you know, it provides about a 3rd of our revenue. So it's very important to us. So we had to shut that down. We had to shut down in-person interview attire services. We opened up June 1st, our boutique. We do some teleappointments for interview attire and teleappointments for our workshop, and we have our workshop programs on Zoom. We have since shut down again. July 1st, closed our boutique because the infection rates are too high, and my volunteers are all older. My staff, we all are older, not old, but older, and many have some comorbidities, and so we're very worried. And it seemed, even though we're losing revenue by closing down, it seemed to stay open and encourage people to shop was not the right message we wanted to be sending. And we'll be closed we're going to be closed next week too. Hopefully the infection rates will come down. But we've really done a pivot. We do our Zoom workshops. We've had some better attendance in the Zoom workshops. I am very concerned because not everybody has the internet. Everybody who we deal with usually has a phone, but they don't necessarily have access to Wi-Fi, and the places they could go to get Wi-Fi, you know, Starbucks, the library, the Day Return Center, they don't have access to any of those places now. So that has been a challenge, but it seems to be doing better than we expected.
Okay, excellent. You know what? Before we go any further, I do see that a couple of other of our alumni who were scheduled to be on with us have just entered the room, and I don't want to go too further in our conversation, so we have to, you know, kind of catch up. But one of my classmates from the class of 2016 is behind backstage, and I want to bring her on here. And Janet, are you ready to come on?
I am ready.
How are you doing, Janet?
Great. As you can see, I've turned into Mrs. Einstein because there's no ability to go to my hairdresser, and so pardon me.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us. You know, I'm sure you've met Connie before.
Yes, we have. How you doing? It's good to see you.
You too, Connie. How are things going? Is the store open? Great.
We were open. We've shut down.
Okay.
Because the infection rates are too high, and it just didn't. It seemed to be sending the wrong message.
Right. Okay.
And we want to be very careful about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Most definitely. And then, Janet, do you know Kelly? She's one of our newest board members.
We have met. I think you look familiar, but you know. So anyway, hello.
Yes, hello. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Sorry I was a little late.
Oh, no problem, no problem. And I have to say, we do have a Sabrina Yakovich backstage as well.
I know Sabrina.
Okay, her camera kind of went off, so I'll bring her back on here shortly as soon as she comes back on. But Janet, I kind of share that you're from the class of 2016. Give us a brief intro of you can tell to share with our viewers.
Well, I'm a wealth manager on a team at Morgan Stanley called the Relationship Group. Been at Morgan Stanley for 10 plus years. Leadership Coachella Valley was beyond fabulous. Every month, going to each and every location, business experience was better than the prior month. And it's such a great organization. It's such a great experience. Everyone in all of their respective areas where leadership exists across the country or across the world, if it's international, could have a chance to learn all the things and be exposed to all the things that I got a chance to know and learn in our year. It was a great year. And
yeah,
you
we
know,
had a great time.
40 of us or so. I
Yep.
just, it was lovely. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I agree with you completely. And like I said, I do see Sabrina backstage right now. I'm going to bring her on so we can talk to another class of 2009, I believe. Sabrina, how are you
okay.
doing?
Hi,
Hello,
Sabrina.
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 Okay. You know, she must be having some technical difficulties there. I'm going to just bring off screen, then we'll bring her back on here shortly. We were kind of moving along here in questions, and Kelly, I know that you were going to ask a question. You just asked a question of Connie. Maybe you can ask the same question of Janet.
Sure. So just thinking back to your class, Janet, something that you resonated with you, maybe a favorite session, just your favorite thing from your time as an LCV student.
You know, I as I said a minute ago, from the first one through the end, they were all incredible. What I loved about we had an experience with Gal from Red Jeep Tours, where she talked about the history, the geology of the area, the plant life, so flora and fauna. That was incredible. Everybody was just like on the floor practically. When we went to Palm Desert and we're in the Civic Center and hearing from the judges and the sheriffs, you know, a whole other side, we got to see some of the dogs that they used, to go to Sunline, bus line, and hear about hydrogen energy, to go to the power plant on the other side of the 10 was just wild. I mean, to
Sentinel
see
is the
all
name
of
this
that,
place. Yeah.
to be at the newspaper, the Desert Sun, you know, to look at the web presses downstairs and to have our conversations about that, then to go to the TV station, the farm, when we went out for growing peppers. And I grew up in an agricultural area in upstate New York, so it was very exciting to be, you know, out there in the fields. I'm sure I'm missing one or two, but you know, those are some of the ones that just stayed in my mind to be so vibrant and incredible. What about you? What were some of yours from, you know, your experience?
Kelly, go ahead. You just went through. Why don't you share?
Yeah, no, I mean, everything you said and kind of what really just the access that you have to that and people that probably wouldn't have experience without in Leadership Valley. Every class was so excited about and tried to get as much as I could. So that was definitely the thing that resonated with me the most. I just really enjoyed everything about the classes and the access.
For me, I you know, I wish we would have. I mean, maybe I didn't have the time or didn't make the time, but the connections between us, a few of us have stayed connected, but I thought it was going to be I thought it was going to be deeper. I thought there was going to be more of an interplay with us as colleagues and shared experiences and leaders in our different fields. And I didn't have much of that. So I don't know if it was just me, I didn't make the time, I wasn't available, or if it was just we had that year and then that was it. So I hope that you're able to maintain your relationships.
So I'll tell you, Janet, that I can share that since I went through the class with you and so forth, and that each of the classes that I've seen since then, and even our class, there's been pockets of people that stick together in groups and so forth.
Yeah.
It has definitely happened, but has it been 100% of the class? Absolutely not. I wish it were like that the 100% of the class would stay connected, but then also, you know, people move away and things happen and so forth. But no,
Sure.
I have to agree fully with Kelly that it has definitely opened up doors where I definitely got involved because it was work motivated. I wanted to look for internships and mentors and opportunities for my students. And since then, it's been great. It's been absolutely fantastic. I love
you have to send some people, send some girls over for finance. I want women in finance. It's a great industry. It's not just you know, people that have interpersonal skills from the humanities. They don't have to have finance background, but they like people. They'll be great financial advisors. So don't track just guys that are into math or finance, but women and young girls that like communicating
Yep.
will be great financial advisors.
No, I'll tell you, with my position with the foundation, we are big with helping out in all programs of STEAM, and then, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And with that being said, they have the last 2 years, they obviously didn't get to have it this last year, but they had a day for women leaders to come on campus over at Palm Desert High, and they met with middle school girls, they met with high school girls, and all they did was talk about the various positions that they have in STEAM education, because they know that those are ready and able jobs that are available. But let's continue on here. I know that, Connie, you were kind of to talk about how you're operating differently and so forth. This store has been open, it's closed. What do you foresee maybe like in the future, what's going to happen with the store?
Well, I'm hoping we'll be able to stay open. In addition, we lost about 60% of our volunteers because they're afraid to come back because they have some health issues, they're all older, retired, or they live with someone who has some health issues. They're afraid of bringing it back. And that's very rare because we have volunteers who stay with us 5-6 years. I mean, we have a lot of longevity. So I think we're going to see the future where there's going to be a lot of businesses are going to open and then going to close. Briefly because an employee's tested positive, which is not our case, or the infection rate is too high. So I do think that's the new normal that we're going to see. Which makes it a real challenge. And I'm not sure what to do about the feedback. Do you hear it too, or just me?
Yes, I was just going to type. I hear a lot of feedback, so I don't know if that's just me or it's all of us.
Okay, so
it's like an echo.
So I would recommend, if we're not speaking, then we go ahead and mute our mics. Then I'll go ahead.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't hear any, but I'll.
Okay. And now it seems like it has stopped. I do think that will be the new normal, that you're going to see businesses open, businesses close for short periods because something's happened or the infection rate's too high, and their staff is scared. And as much as I would like to stay open, as much as I want my normal life to return, selling used clothing does not seem to be worth the risk of putting my staff at risk, whether they're a paid staff or not a paid staff. So that's just the way we're approaching it. And then I will mute myself.
So Karen, how about you? Thinking about if you're operating differently during this time, or what you guys are doing differently during COVID. Yes.
So we are, we transitioned to working remotely right in the middle of March. So it's been 3-4 months already. And there was a little bit of an up time to get used to all of the technology of having the phones forwarded and, all the different requirements, because we're so highly regulated about printing and all of that stuff. So once we got through a few weeks of that, and then I personally got into a rhythm of how my day was going to go, I realized one of my biggest roles on our team is business development, and how I used to engage with prospective clients and other colleagues was exactly, being a member of leadership, being a member of the Desert Estate Planning Council. So going out and networking, seeing people face to face, taking people out to dinner. Well, we can't do any of that now. I'm not doing any of that now. So my goal between now and the end of the year is to get really familiar with virtual meetings. And all of the members of our team, there are 4 financial advisors, we're all getting the technology in terms of webcams and microphones to be able to either, use our laptops or have them retrofitted onto our desktops to be able to host a virtual meeting. And then we're going to test with a couple of our really good clients who are our friends, that in case we flub up, they won't, leave us. But we'll do a few test runs with just like we're doing now here, chatting on the phone, chatting on the web, and seeing how that goes. And then once we're pretty good with that, we're going to actually bring in one of the attorneys that we work with that's going to do a presentation on some of the new acts that have gone out that affect people's taxes and affect people's estate planning. And we'll, again, choose a couple of clients that are really dear to us, that will give us a lot of slack, and we'll do it with them once. And then we'll do it again where we'll ask them to invite people who aren't working with us. And we'll see how that goes. Because that's my biggest goal, is to try to figure out how to get in front of new clients when we can't get face to face with people. It's a challenge. So
I hear you completely on that. You know, my job with Desert Sands is I'm the director of community engagement, and it's tough to engage community when you can't physically go meet for coffee at a Starbucks, or maybe go to happy hour over Armando's or whatever it may be. So that's why the foundation has been great, and they use this format as well, and I use this to interview our staff and get them out in front of the community and so forth. I guess one question I have that wasn't on this list here, and then I think about like corporate America, and it just came up. Jenna, I know you work for a large firm, and they're all over the United States. And a large company like Twitter said, we're no longer needing to go into the office, and therefore they're not going to have office space like that. Do you foresee anything like that happening in your guys' future?
yes, one of the things that hit me right away when this happened, and remote working and social distancing, is there's not going to be the same kind of need for commercial office space as there was before this pandemic. And that is going to change.
Yeah.
There might be a bigger need because not everybody's going to work remotely. Not everybody can work remotely. We are out here in the desert. So a lot of us have homes. We have bigger areas to live in. I have a dedicated office, no bed, no anything. It's a full office. Some people are working in a corner of their rooms, but think about people in the city, and especially New York City, where I come from. They have 600 square foot apartment. So working remotely at home, and if they have a child or a spouse or a grandmother parent or whatever, they can't do that indefinitely. So there are probably 62% is one of the statistics I heard of people want to go back to an office or want to go back to a workspace. But as a firm, we have been given the opportunity to work remotely as long as we feel we need to, and then ongoingly. So I have a feeling over time, a lot of the footprint of Morgan Stanley, not only in the United States, but across the world, is going to get a little smaller because they're not going to need as much office space because many of us will continue to work from home.
No, I understand that completely. We're talking about with education and them rolling out, and Palm Springs already announced how they're coming back to school and so forth. And we're going to be having our announcement at our board meeting tonight. But from what I understand, it's very similar. Everybody's starting virtually. And one of the things that we're doing, and I think that we're going to be able to be allowed to do, is to have the teachers come out on campus to work from campus, because we have all the technology here on the campuses and so forth. It would be very difficult to outfit 2,700 teachers to be able to work from home with all their technology. So we're going to have them on campuses. That's what I dream and hope for.
What about the children, though, that don't have access to the internet, that don't have computers? Aren't your school district, but what are the other huge urban school districts doing for that population? Do you know?
So I can share that we've partnered with, so at Desert Sands, we're lucky we have our own LTE network. So we send our kids home with a MiFi. Even the kids that are on a transfer, we help them out and get them Wi-Fi service, because every kid has a Chromebook. I know that just from reading different articles and seeing things across the country, that major players like Google, Apple, they partnered with large school districts and large, like I'm thinking like New York State Board of Ed, New York City Board of Ed. They partnered with large organizations like that. So I know that I agree, there's definitely a digital divide where we have students that are not being connected. And that was a big thing that our school board was looking at, to make sure that we're connecting with everybody. I can say, one of the people that got me involved with Leadership Coachella Valley, and I reached out to her, and she's been great, is Bianca Ray. And her foundation has been helping supply some of the Wi-Fi's, MiFi's and so forth for students and so forth that don't have the ability to fit in our network. So that's been pretty great. But before we go on to the next one, I know that Kelly has to get off to another meeting. Kelly, before you leave, is there anything else you want to say to these lovely ladies that have joined us today?
Sorry, I was muted. both so much for taking the time today. I hope we're able to connect at future alum events, and yeah, just look forward to it, and encourage some of your other classmates to join these chats that we have, these lunch discussions that we're having a couple times a month, because it's great to hear from all different industries, what's going on and how things are shifting, and how what the new norm will look like. So thank you so much.
Kelly, you enjoy your next meeting, and we'll see you later.
Thank you. Bye.
And I want to come up to our last question here. If there's a message you would like to say to anybody who's watching, maybe an LCV classmate you haven't seen in a while, or maybe a work colleague that you haven't seen in a while, why don't we start off with you, Connie? Is there any message you'd like to say to the people that are watching?
Well, see, I don't know who's out there watching, so but certainly if you're looking to give back to the community, to volunteer, we're always looking for volunteers. We certainly want your clothing donations, but we also need your money donations. We're in a very good position. We ended the year in the black, so I'm really, really proud of that. And so that has been a good thing. And we're about ready to launch a program. Normally, clients come to us from other agencies because we build the agency. We're going to launch a program where we can help anybody without a referral, because we really want to help get Coachella Valley back to work. I think it's going to be a real struggle the next 6 months to a year, because we are such a tourist-based economy. We really need some diversification in our economy. And that you can really see that now. I also serve on the Workforce Development Board for the county, and you can just see the numbers, and it's just devastating. So I think things are going to be really rough. I mean, and I wish I had some better news, but things are going to be really rough the next several months in all the sectors. And that's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. We're such a, we have a very singular type economy. It's on tourism and so forth. And a couple weeks ago, we had Joe Wallace from CVEP and Laura James from CVEP, who Laura's in the current class. Joe Wallace is the CEO of CVEP, and he was talking exactly about that we as in Coachella Valley have to diversify more. We need to have more types of industry. And then he actually brought up something very interesting, that he said, if we were one large city, the whole Coachella Valley, and there's just like suburbs, our funding would be completely different with what's going on right now. So he brought that up, and I'd never heard that conversation from anybody, and I don't want to be on either side of it, but I just thought it was very, very interesting to hear that. If we were one large city, it'd be a completely different, I guess, bucket of money that we would qualify for.
Interesting.
As a Coachella Valley, rather than being the small cities that we are.
I think that would be hard to do. I agree that that's probably an interesting discussion, but I don't see that one happening.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't want to get on that topic, but it was a very interesting topic. Janet, is there something that you would like to say, or a message to anybody who you haven't seen in a while? Or I'll tell you, we got 5 live viewers right now. I know that Sean Abramowitz is watching, and by the way, he knows that I'm from upstate New York as well, and you're from upstate, and he put this as a comment earlier, upstate representing. And then lastly, I want to mention that I actually stole this idea from Katie Stice with doing these things and using StreamYard, and she says nice, and I'm not sure what that comment was towards, but
I'm sure it's
one of our
me.
Yeah. There we go. But Jen, is there anything that you'd like to say to the people watching, or just a general message?
To my classmates and all of those before and after, I think, Leadership Coachella Valley is incredible. So I'd love to, if I haven't reached out to you, I would love to hear from you. So please, let's keep in touch, or let's get back in touch. In terms of where we are, it's, we have to remember, it's not that I'm Pollyannish, but we are a very entrepreneurial, innovative, creative society. And this is just one terrible blip that we're in now, but we will get through this and we'll come out on the other side. There will be new industries that pop up that we, didn't imagine 6 or 12 or 18 or 24 months ago. And there will be some businesses that go away. Everybody look at your cameras. Do you have film anymore? No, everything's digital. So what happened to analog film? It disappeared, except for those that do art photography. So same for other industries. They will disappear, but other new ones will pop up. But the key is to be able to bring everyone up, not just the top 1% or the top 10%, but everyone has to come up. And it's a very interesting time that we're in now, because the pandemic is affecting all of us, regardless of wealth or status. It may be affecting certain groups more so because of morbidity and health issues, but we don't know a lot about the virus yet. We've only researched it 6 months, and the more that the medical industry has time spending in it, the more they'll get to know, and the more they'll be able to combat it. I'm hopeful that we'll have a vaccine rather, soon, but I'm not, it normally takes years for a vaccine to pop up. So if we get one in 2021, we are really ahead of the game. But the key is to understand that information should not be political. We should take facts from the scientists and not politicize them, because wearing masks will help keep more people safe and not sick. And, it's not Democratic or Republican to do what the CDC says. So we have to be smart about following the protocol. But on the flip side, businesses have to also be smart about dealing with racial injustice, because you look at the demographics of anything and everything. Yes, there are terrible inequities that have to be addressed and adjusted. And I don't know what we are going to do, but the killing of George Floyd and the presentation of all of the Black people that have been murdered by police is on people's minds now, and this needs to be talked about. And so it goes hand in hand with what's going on with the pandemic. We all have to step back a little bit and realize we're all human in this together. One isn't above the other, one isn't below the other. We have to hold hands and figure out a way of getting through all of this and be smart and open. And that's my message to everybody. Let's work together.
I love that. Work together to get through this. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Connie, Janet, it's been a pleasure seeing you both. I look forward to the time where maybe we can have a glass of wine together or a cup of coffee. That would be fantastic. Or we can actually meet up and do something. That'd be great. Anybody who's watching or anybody watching in the future, our email address is going along the bottom. If you'd like to be a part of our lunch conversations, please email us. As well as Shauna Bromowitz, our board-elect president for the next class, is putting together a committee for the 20th reunion. I'm hoping that the next large function that we have is celebrating the class of 2021 now, because we postponed their class, but celebrating them as well as having our 20th anniversary all in the same evening.
Oh, that would
So
be
if
great.
you guys want to if you're interested in that, just go ahead and email leadershipcoachellavalley@gmail.com. But ladies, thank you very much. You have a great weekend, and I'll catch up with you hopefully soon. We can all physically meet. That'd be
Good to
great.
see you both.
Good to see you both.
Take care, everybody.
Great.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Be well
Have
and
a
be
good day.
safe. Okay. Bye.